It was an ordinary morning, the kind that unfolds without any noticeable disruption. Then my phone vibrated with a message from my wife, Rachel. Just meeting a friend for coffee. At first, the words seemed unremarkable. Casual plans like that had never raised concerns in the past. But there was something in the offhand phrasing that triggered a quiet undercurrent of doubt I could no longer dismiss. I stared at the screen, the message connecting with a series of nagging details I had tried to set aside. The unexplained late evenings, the private amusement she took in certain text notifications, the vague responses about her whereabouts. Rather than respond with frustration or uncertainty, I sent a single, deliberate reply. Ask him how his wife feels about the pictures you sent her. The pause that followed was immediate and unmistakable. Her typing indicator appeared and disappeared repeatedly, each delay carrying more weight than a direct response would have. She was searching for a way to deflect, expecting perhaps a light-hearted comment or a jealous outburst. But there was no retreat in my message. It was a precise, unyielding reflection of the suspicions that had been building. Before we continue, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming stories and updates here on the channel. Several hours later, when Rachel returned from her coffee outing, she entered the apartment with the same casual demeanor she had left with. It was just a quick catch-up with Kyle, she said lightly. I did not return the smile or acknowledge the remark. Instead, I held up my phone, the screen displaying the exchange we had shared earlier. So, what did he say about the pictures? I asked evenly. Her expression faltered, the easy confidence giving way to visible uncertainty. What are you talking about? She replied, her voice catching slightly. I kept my tone steady and direct. The pictures you sent him last week. You asked him about his wife's reaction, didn't you? For a brief moment, she was silent, her eyes widening as the implications settled in. That hesitation, that inability to immediately deflect, confirmed what I had suspected for some time. The supposed innocent meeting and the messages she had framed as harmless were neither. You thought I wouldn't see it, I said quietly. The private exchanges, the way you've kept certain things just out of reach. But I have seen it, and there's no way to overlook it any longer. Her hands trembled slightly as the familiar defenses began to crumble. She had relied on my willingness to accept her explanations without pressing further. But that readiness had reached its limit. I did not raise my voice or launch into a heated defense. I simply allowed the weight of the question and the undeniable truth it exposed to fill the space between us. She sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face. I didn't think you would notice, she said in a near whisper. I noticed, I replied. Every text that made you smile in a way you didn't share with me. Every vague explanation about where you had been. It wasn't one moment. It was the pattern. She looked up, her composure stripped away. I continued without interruption. This isn't about trying to punish you. It's about what is real. There are limits to what can be ignored or excused. And you have crossed them. The casual way you've handled these interactions, the secrecy, the half-truths, has made that clear. I set the phone down on the table between us, the messages plainly visible. There was no need to repeat accusations or demand further admissions. The evidence of what she had attempted to conceal was right there, and the quiet certainty in my response left no room for evasion. She could no longer rely on deflection, charm, or the assumption that I would simply look the other way. In that moment, the full realization took hold. She was not facing anger or desperate pleading, but an unflinching recognition of what her actions had revealed. The private laughter over messages, the carefully worded explanations, the effort to maintain separate spheres, all of it converged in the simple, pointed question I had posed. The silence that followed was not empty. It forced her to confront the reality she had worked to keep hidden. For me, it marked a decisive shift. I had brought the hidden patterns into clear view without escalating into argument or emotional chaos. The confrontation did not require volume or theatrics. It required only the steady presentation of what could no longer be denied. From that point forward, the foundation of our interactions changed. I would no longer participate in a dynamic built on selective truths and concealed exchanges. What remained was a commitment to straightforwardness, mutual accountability, and the expectation that actions would align with the basic principles of trust and respect. There would be no further allowance for ambiguity or pretense. The boundary had been drawn, not through confrontation, but through the unsparing clarity of holding her actions up to the light she had tried to keep dim.